I love to cook. Hi, I'm Giulia. Welcome to my home. Today we're going to try to make a very popular cookie, which is the biscottis. And this one is a very old recipe, been handed down from generation to generation, probably tweaked here and there. This particular one, a friend of mine gave it to me many years ago. And as far as I know, it's one of the best I've tasted it. So hopefully you'll enjoy making them and eating them. So let's get started. We'll give you all the measurements for what you need. You're going to need 5 eggs, a pound of sugar, a pound of flour, 16 ounces, also 4 ounces of oil, vegetable oil, a zest of 1 lemon, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and now the nuts, which will be the same amount, the same weight as the flour or the sugar, 16 ounces, but divided. We use, in this recipe, 8 ounces of hazelnuts and 8 ounces of almonds, which are lightly toasted about 15 minutes. Now the hazelnuts, they're going to need to be kind of skinned after you bake them and you cool them off a little bit. They're going to need to be like that thin skin that they have on. And, you know, you could do it with a towel, put them in a towel and just rub them together, or with your fingers. It doesn't have to be all off, just whatever comes off, whatever, it's not going to be kind of ugly in the cookies. So just doing this now, finishing up this, and then we're going to need to kind of crack the nuts, not chopped very fine. You want nice big chunks of the nuts in your cookies. So you'll see in a minute. I'm going to do it on the board, which this is the board that I work on my baking. And I got very lucky. My husband actually made it for me many years ago. Now you can see that the nuts are pretty much cleaned. Whatever that's left on is not going to matter. It's probably going to stay on them. And I'm going to spread them out on the board and just give them a quick rolling with a rolling pin. If you see them getting more or less, you know, cracked in half, that's good enough. If there's some of them are not cracked, they'll be okay also. You just don't want them chopped fine. One of the differences in this recipe is the hazelnuts, because most of the recipes that I've come across, they just have almonds and very little of that. This one has tons of nuts, and the flavor of the hazelnuts makes a lot of difference. More or less, this is what they're going to look like. They're not crushed completely. They're just kind of, you know, cracked so that they will adhere to the flour. Now, the same thing we're going to do with the almonds. Again, this is a very old-fashioned way of doing the cracking of the nuts. Probably most people might be comfortable doing it with a knife, but this is the way my great hand, the one that taught me a lot of the sweet recipes of cookies, so they used to do them. Now we start adding all the dry ingredients, the flour, which what I'm going to do is just kind of mix it together. What happens is it gets a little bit better, the mixture, once you put the wet ingredients, so the nuts will not fall to the bottom, will not sink to the bottom. So we'll just mix it a little bit like this. We're going to put the baking powder, 3 teaspoons. We said that before, I hope. And the zest of the lemon. Okay. And we, again, now we're going to measure the sugar because this is, I'm not sure if it's 16 ounces. So I'm going to just put it on my scale. So this is it. Okay. So now we'll add the sugar to the rest of the ingredients so far. Then again, start mixing it a little bit just to give it a little bit of a oil. We're going to add the oil now. And I like to mix this also a little bit so that it will be ready for the eggs. Oops, come on, don't run away. Then make a nice well in the middle. Start cracking the eggs. Okay. Just a little swirl around. It's a little bit mixed up. Now let's slowly incorporate the eggs in the flour. It's going to result kind of a sticky, so you're going to need, I have already some flour put aside for when it's all ready, because it'll still be kind of sticky. And you're going to need that before you roll them out. So you're basically only going to need to put it together. It doesn't need to be kneaded or anything like that. This kind of dough is just, the idea is just everything sticks together. And then we're going to let it rest, 15, 20 minutes, so that just it'll be easier still to roll it out. So I'm going to, at this point, try to use my hands because there's no other way to do it. As you can see, it is pretty sticky. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of this flour just to get my hands kind of cleaned, or I cannot do anything. Okay. And I'm going to put some on this side, so where I'm going to put my dough to rest. This is all good, so we'll try to put it together with the rest of it. And we're back. We rested the dough for about 10-15 minutes, and now what we're going to do is, to make it easy, just kind of cut the whole thing in 6 more or less equal parts, and so that, because we're going to make loaves. So this is 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Some of them might be a little bigger than others, but we'll see. Anyway, so now I'm going to cover the rest of them so that it doesn't get too dry. And I'm going to work on one for now. Spread a little flour on a board. Get the dough. Kind of roll it up and just kind of very easily, no stress. Just make that's it. Just pick it up and position it on the cookie sheet so that you're going to put 3 of them with more or less equal distance from one another, because they will get big. Yeah, and by the way, I forgot to tell you guys before, but this recipe makes tons of cookies. So you'll be able to enjoy them, give them to friends. You can freeze them. Or the best way that I do it, that I found really good, is I have a lot of cookie tins. And as long as they're airtight, they'll last you for up to a month. And they'll stay just as fresh. So it's another one of the reasons that these cookies are so handy to have or to make. Okay, There's the second one. Now, this is what they look like before the egg wash. We're going to do the egg wash now. Just lightly. Just make sure you cover the sides. So this gives you a nice shine. And we'll show you how we cook them step by step. But you don't want them really brown because they're going to be cooked again. This is what they call biscottis because they get double baked. And we're ready to go in the oven. We're going to put them in the center. Okay. And on 350 for about 15 minutes. I'm going to put the timer on and we'll check them then. The first batch is in the oven, so I'm getting ready. I'm getting the other batch ready. I'm just going to do the same thing I did before. Make another 3 logs. And then once these are cooked, we'll let them rest for about 5 minutes. And we're going to have to cut them pretty quickly because the only trick with these cookies is that we're done with this. And then we're just waiting for the first batch to cook, and this will go in. Okay, we're checking them. They look like they're just about ready. Yeah. And this is the color. They get a little bit darker, not too bad, but they should be halfway cooked, basically. That's the idea. Now we're putting the other batch in to cook, and this time we are going to set it for 20 minutes. And this time they should be okay. So just start from the corner. And usually these ends are the ones that the kids will eat. And these are the actual cookies. So try to make them as even as possible. See, this is why I tell you they need to be warm because it's easier to cut. The nut is not crunchy at this point. If it gets really dry and crunchy, it'll be impossible for it to cut them and come out, you know, like that. So now this time you want to actually put them down on the cut side. And yeah, just kind of leave just a tiny, tiny space. You don't want to actually cram them together, but give yourself like 2 to 3 hours with this kind of recipes because they are a little bit of time consuming, but worth it, worth every minute of it, I believe. Okay, we'll just put these guys here too. Let's finish them cooking. And okay, here we go. We're ready. The other guys are just about ready too. Just like the other ones, we'll take them out. We'll place them up here to cool off a little, and we'll put the other ones in. Now these guys, again, yeah, give them a good 15 minutes, then check them. You don't want them to get burned, but you want them to get nice, and this time they should be nice golden brown, okay? Now there they are, ready, finished cooking. Again, this is about 20 minutes they were in the second time, and the color is very nice. If you like them darker, you can keep them another 5 minutes, but these are good to go. So, and the other batch is in the oven now, finished cooking also, okay? And they are beauties, and yeah, I'm gonna taste one of these right now. How about anybody else? Yum. And there you have it. These are the biscottis. Hope you enjoy making them, and mostly, hopefully you enjoy eating them. I know we do.
What are you fixing, Vito?
The leftover from the last night.
Ah, nice.
I got some ham, you know, the string beans or potato.
Beautiful.
You need it.